Welcome back to our Italian citizenship FAQs. I'm Melanie Holtz, owner of Lo Schiavo Genealogica. Today we're going to talk about how much does it cost to get your documents ready for your Italian citizenship application. And this will depend on whether you want to do it yourself, whether you want to hire a service provider like Lo Schiavo, and how many generations of documents really that you need to gather. Also, another consideration is that can increase the time and the cost of getting your documents together is how many discrepancies are in the documents. So they're going to want to see proof of naturalization or proof of no naturalization for the immigrant ancestor, and birth, marriage, divorce, and death certificates, at least in a U.S. consulate, for all of the direct line ancestors, meaning the immigrant to yourself. And if you're passing it down to adult children, of course, their records will be needed also. They want all marriages, all divorces. So for a typical project for a 3-generation project, which is back to a great grandparent as an immigrant, it's going to take probably at least a year to get your documents together, to get them consistent. And by consistent, I mean for each of the direct line ancestors, from the immigrant to your own records, they want all of that ancestor's records consistent. So if your ancestor was born Giuseppe Antonio and he came over and he used Joe on his marriage certificate, and he used Jack and his Jack was used on his death certificate, then that marriage certificate and that death certificate needs to be amended to read as his Italian birth certificate reads. So with most states, you're able to make these changes through the State Vital Records Office, but it takes an additional 4 or 5 months in the process to make changes. Some states, you do have to file a court petition to either, make all the changes for states that don't allow them without a court petition, or to declare that they are all one and the same people. So there are some states who don't allow any kind of amendments unless the court forces them to do it. In particular, like Massachusetts, Connecticut, that sort of thing. So in those states, you will most likely need a court petition to declare all the ancestors to be one and the same, and they will require this before they grant your citizenship application, and your citizenship as complete. As far as Los Schiavo's fees, we base our fees around how many generations there are, and how much you want to help in the process. So we have a DIY project, and we have a project where we do it all. You're just signing document applications and forwarding documents to us as they arrive. The only thing we can't do is court cases for you, but we can get you to appropriate lawyers and work with them, if a court case is necessary for your application. So a typical 3-generation project, the DIY is about $5,000, and the complete is $8,000. So I'd be glad to look at your application, your lineage, and that way, we can determine where you are, in the pricing aspect of things. Oftentimes families do this together to save on costs. So you might have your brother and your sister, they want to go ahead and come in on this, and that way you can split the costs between everybody. Each additional adult immigrant for Los Schiavo's cost is an additional $1,000. But that's much cheaper than if they come back to me 6 years from now when we have to do all the work again, instead of just ordering another copy of what we're ordering now. If they come back to me in 6 years, I have to charge the full fee again because we're doing all the work again, instead of just ordering, additional copies. Consulates won't share. documentation, which means that, say, you live in New York City, your sister lives in Los Angeles, your brother's down in Miami. You each have a different consulate. So you're each going to need a full set of documents because the consulates won't share documentation. Now, if you're living elsewhere in the world, we have clients in London, in Amsterdam, in South Africa. Each one of the consulates, and even each one in the US or Canada, have slightly different preferences. Some will want death certificates, some won't. If you look at the Italian nationality law, death certificates are not necessary. But many do want to see them, many consulates want to see them to show the family in context. As far as other possible costs, if you do it through us and have a package rate, there is an application fee that the consulate will charge you of about $300. The exact amount changes every quarter. That is included in our packages. But that, if you wanted to do it yourself, that would be something when it came time for your appointment that you will need to have ready, along with your documentation. All right. That's all for this one. And please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.